What's up, everybody? This is Rob Schou here with EXP Realty in Southern Maryland. Today we're going to talk about the Southern Maryland real estate market in 2022. Alright, so if this is your first time on our channel, make sure you click that little subscribe button down at the bottom, click the bell so you're notified every single time we put out new content about living in Southern Maryland. Honestly, we love helping people move to Southern Maryland, so if you need any help, if you want any advice, go ahead and use that contact information below and reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you. Alright, so today we're going to talk about the housing market in Southern Maryland for 2022. I think it's probably one of the most talked about topics right now is what the real estate market is doing overall in our nation. 2021 was a crazy time in the real estate market with record high housing costs and record low inventory in a lot of places. A lot of places are seeing multiple offers on houses and really strong offers even from buyers too, whether it be 100% cash or just really strong financing terms. So today what I want to do is kind of break it down for you about what our market looks like and how to put your best foot forward, some tips to put your best foot forward so you are able to really compete in this really competitive market. All right, so to start with, I'm going to talk about just our Southern Maryland market. Remember, Southern Maryland is Charles County, Calvert County, and St. Mary's County. Each county is unique in their housing market, but one thing they all have in common, it is definitely 100% still a seller's market in 2022 in all three of those counties. On average, those three counties have less than a month's supply of houses for people. What that means is the old laws of supply and demand come into effect, and with that low amount of supply, the demand for houses is increasing. Even if there's not a whole bunch of people looking, there's still not a lot of supply there. And that's going to drive prices up. And that's a lot of what we're seeing right now. People that are either moving to our area or maybe moving up in a house after being able to be at home and work and wanting their own dedicated office. We're seeing a lot of that demand and just not the supply to really quench the thirst of that demand. So we're seeing those prices go up. So that's a big driver in our market right now. We're also, previous to this, we were seeing some record low interest rates for mortgages, and now we're starting to see mortgage rates creep up a little bit. Now, to keep that in context, mortgage rates are still near historic lows, but people are starting to see that because of different Fed policies that the mortgage rates are going to start creeping up, is what a lot of people believe right now. Now, a lot of people believe that mortgage rates were going to head back up a few years ago, and coronavirus came through and really pushed mortgage rates back down, and other actions by the Federal Reserve pushed mortgage rates back down as well. So there's no crystal ball to say that for sure rates are going to be higher throughout 2022, but I think it's a pretty safe bet that they're not going to be as low as they were in 2021, and they'll start creeping up towards that 4% mark by the end of 2022 or maybe even to 2023. So that's another reason why people are starting to really think about buying houses now, because they want to lock in to those lower interest rates that we're seeing early on in 2022. So make sure you're paying attention to that when you're looking at the market, when you're a buyer and looking to buy a new house, that you're paying attention to those interest rates. And that's something too that if you haven't hooked up with a local realtor yet, that you really need to, because they have their finger on the pulse of those kind of things. They're talking to mortgage lenders. They may be reading about it themselves, and just keeping an idea of the supply and demand of their local area, and also the mortgage rates that their lenders are offering. So really reach out to someone if these kind of things are a little bit scary to you or a little bit foreign territory for you. Make sure you reach out to a knowledgeable realtor that can help you kind of work through that. And if you need a knowledgeable realtor, I'm here to help you with that. You can use that contact information you saw before to reach out. So those are the kind of things that are, I don't want to say working against you, but that's the climate we're in right now in this market in Southern Maryland. So what I want to do today is give you some tips to put your best foot forward. So hopefully when you go to a seller, you're the buyer that they choose. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about today, and I think probably the most important one of this whole tip number one is be ready. So the very first thing you should be doing, in my opinion, is reaching out to a knowledgeable realtor. and telling them what you're looking for, so you can start getting property search notifications that match what you're looking for. And while they're setting that up, while they're getting that going, you need to be reaching out to your lender, whether it's through a credit union that you're a part of, or maybe a local lender that your realtor recommends. You need to reach out to them and get your pre-approval done, because when you submit that offer to the seller, you want to have that pre-approval there so they know you're serious, because I guarantee a lot of the other offers already have that pre-approval as well. So make sure that you're doing that and you have that pre-approval already set up when you start making offers, so you're putting your best foot forward. So the second tip that I would say, and this is one that we really couldn't do last year, but new construction. So new construction, based on a lot of the things that I've read and a lot of the reporting that has gone on, should see a good surge this year of inventory, just because the lumber shortage is starting to go away. And some of the labor shortages that we saw earlier in 2021 and even late into 2021 are starting to resolve themselves a little bit. So we should start seeing more new builds on the market than we did in 2021. And hopefully that's going to eat up some of that supply or some of that demand and make it so it becomes a little bit more of a balanced market for buyers, where it's not as competitive. Now, one of the really nice things about new constructions, especially right now, is that they're offering a lot of these builders are offering finance credits and things like that, and or finance incentives and things like that to sweeten the deal for buyers. So make sure you reach out to a knowledgeable realtor and talk to them about that new construction in the different areas and see if that's a right fit for you, and maybe you can avoid that whole process of going through dealing with sellers that are getting multiple offers. Maybe you can find exactly what you want with new construction, and you might have to wait a little while for it to be built, but you don't have to worry about being rejected multiple times for those houses that are getting so many offers and are so competitive. So that might be a great one if you're not in a huge rush to move, within the next 30, 40 days. You're looking at maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road. The next tip is number 3, and it's getting creative with your offers. Now, I'm not saying to do anything like, writing the seller's love letters. That's something in Maryland especially that we're not doing anymore. We're not submitting those to sellers for them to see, where we're saying, this is going to make my family so happy if you let us have this house. That's not part of that package when we're submitting it to sellers. But what I am saying we should do is get creative in the way that you structure your offers. So a lot of people are coming pre-approved, a lot of people are getting conventional loans, but you have to understand the seller's motivation. So maybe the sellers are moving in the next few months and they prefer to sell quickly, but they also need somewhere to stay until their new move is ready, until it's time to move into the new home. Maybe you can offer to lease it back to them for that 2 or 3 month period that they need, and maybe that will sweeten the deal enough for them to say, hey, we're going to take this person's offer, your offer, over the other person's offer. So just really understanding what the seller's motivation is can really help you get a leg up on the other offers on the table. So that I really highly recommend talking to your realtor and making sure that they know what the motivations of that seller is by talking to the list agent. And the last thing, and I think one of the most important things throughout any real estate process, whether it's in a buyer's market, seller's market, or a balanced market, is don't give up. Don't get out of it. Stay in it. It is frustrating. I've been on both sides of this, whether a professional or as someone buying real estate, and there are so many ups and downs. But in the end, it's worth it. If you miss out on a bunch of houses and you think you missed out on the perfect one, I can almost promise you that the next perfect one will come. I'm reminded of a story of when my wife and I were looking at houses after we found out we were pregnant. We thought we missed out on the perfect house. We were in the Chipotle parking lot, and we thought for sure we missed out on it, and she was super sad about it. And but we ended up finding an even better house for us that we absolutely loved. And so it does work out. And the biggest thing is we didn't give up, and we kept looking, and that next house that we saw was the one that was perfect for us. So don't give up. Don't just think, well, I'm never going to find the one I want after I lost this one, or I've lost out on 5 houses now. How am I ever going to get one? You're going to get one. You're going to find the right one for you. And a knowledgeable realtor, whether that be me or someone else, is going to work their tails off to make sure that you get what you need, and it's going to make the right home for your family. So again, if you need any help, if you're looking for a realtor in Southern Maryland, make sure you use that contact information below, and I'd be happy to help you. And if this is your first time on the channel, click that subscribe button, click that little bell so you're notified every time we put out new content about living in Southern Maryland.